everyone's imagination. That's the heavyweight champ. You were here. Everyone else was here. But since then, the feeling has been Joshua makes all this money fighting anyway, 30 million pounds, whatever it is. Why should he take 40 or 50 to fight Wilder when he's making against anybody? He can make 30, 40 million pounds, whatever it is.
No fantasy contracts, just reality. You know, bringing our worth to the table and bargaining and negotiating what we're worth and making this fight happen.
Which mentality do you come in with? I ask because when you were slick, to me that looked like a better.
Anthony Joshua's calm confidence stole the show as he sat down with Max Kellerman ahead of the highly anticipated clash with Jake Paul, a matchup that has lit up both hardcore boxing fans and casual crossover viewers. Joshua didn't just talk game plans. He peeled back the pressure, the legacy, and the spectacle wrapped around this unlikely showdown. With Kellerman digging for real insight, Joshua addressed critics, expectations, and the surprising reasons he agreed to face one of the sport's most polarizing figures.
You're an undefeated Olympic super heavyweight gold medalist. You're entering your physical prime, and you put 100,000 people in Wembley. So I get your argument. I have the economic clout. He's not coming in as partners. I should get a bigger slice of the pie. Let's have a realistic.
Max Kellerman, known for mixing sharp analysis with a touch of theatrical skepticism, wasted no time framing the bigger picture. He called it what it is, one of the strangest heavyweight matchups in recent memory. Joshua, a former unified world champion. Jake Paul, a YouTuber turned boxer. So why is this fight happening? It's the question millions have asked since day one. Joshua's answer set the tone for everything that followed.
Gonna outbox him. If you're waiting on him and he's initiating and he's feinting you into.
When Kellerman asked what he actually respects about Jake Paul, Joshua kept his composure. He's bringing new eyes to boxing, he said. Joshua acknowledged that despite having zero amateur foundation, Paul jumped straight into the deep end, taking real risks, real pressure, and real criticism. He respects Paul's enthusiasm, ambition, and willingness to face top-level fighters, adding that it shines a brighter spotlight on the sport and expands its global reach.
Paul, does he remind you of any guy that you fought before? Is this a unique situation that you've never come across?
Very unique situation I've never come across, but treating with the same respect that I give all my competition.
So you got the mental fortitude, he's got the mental fortitude. But what's the one best thing that you pride Jake Paul of having that maybe you haven't seen in other competition you faced so far?
From a physical aspect, I couldn't even mention it at the minute. But from a mental aspect, he offered me the fight. Normally I'm offering people fights. He's told me, come and fight. So he believes in himself.
What does the word legacy mean to you, AJ?
Legacy, what does it mean? This is why I was actually asking someone, what does legacy mean?
Size has become one of the biggest talking points, and for good reason. Jake Paul has always looked sturdy in his own divisions, but standing next to Anthony Joshua creates a true David versus Goliath moment. Joshua doesn't just edge him in height, he dwarfs him. His physique screams heavyweight pedigree. Even with Paul bulking up, he still can't match the natural frame or presence of a lifelong heavyweight. The visual difference alone is shocking.
In this equation, not for me. Maybe for MVP, Nikisa, Jake Paul, but not for me. I've kind of marked it or titled it David versus Goliath just because of the size difference. Like, Jake Paul's a big guy. He is. He's 6'1", 220, probably fights around, the 200-pound mark. AJ is an enormous guy. Like, he's a big unit. I think Jake realized that when they came face to face. I don't know if that's the first time they've ever come that close. I'm sure they've met behind the scenes, but I think there was a realization from Jake Paul, like, fuck, this is a big dude. It's a very big dude who isn't coming to play. Like, there was no play with AJ. That was a press conference that almost sounded like AJ versus someone in the top 10, where AJ's taking it seriously. He's answering the questions direct that Ariel's throwing him. There was no, yeah, we're here to kind of fuck around. It's going to be easy. Give me my money. Let me run back to the UK. This was AJ's like, no, we're taking this seriously. And that ain't a good thing for Jake Paul. It isn't. And AJ's that guy anyway. Like, I would never doubt that AJ would take this seriously. But for Jake Paul, I do wonder if realization is kicking in, or maybe he is just that delusional where he doesn't care. I do, and I've been sort of corrected by a few people who maybe know better, but I do think the Americans don't credit or rate AJ. I do think there's a bit of that. I remember when AJ did the rounds prior to the Ruiz fight.
Nikki Sabidarian, CEO of Most Valuable Promotions, revealed to Sky Sports that the December 19th fight is being treated as a global-level event. He admitted Joshua has far more experience, but said Jake Paul's delusional confidence could be an unpredictable X-factor. Originally planned for 2026, the fight was fast-tracked because Paul demanded it. Negotiations were compressed, rearranged, and rushed to make it happen now.
Mike Tyson last year, 227 pounds. I expect Jake will come in anywhere between 225 and 230, and Anthony Joshua has a weight limit of 245 pounds.
There will be those, as you're aware, that will look at it and criticise this fight. There already have been, haven't there? They'll say it's a real mismatch. What would you say to them? Are we going to be watching sport at its purest?
I would say it's much less of a mismatch than what you saw with AJ and Francis Ngannou, who a massive man, but relatively no boxing experience. I would say it's much less of a mismatch than AJ's 9th or 10th fight against guys who've been knocked out 20 to 25 times. Given AJ's pedigree, Jake is built for this. Jake is built.
Alexander Usyk didn't hold back. He called the matchup hopelessly one-sided, comparing Joshua to a Rolls-Royce and Paul to a Fiat. For Usyk, the gap isn't height. It's fundamentals, experience, and physical readiness. He believes Paul is stepping into real danger facing a seasoned heavyweight with Joshua's pedigree.
Anthony Joshua is Olympic champion. First. Jack Paul is, sportsman, YouTuber, showman. Rolls-Royce, Fiat. Listen, it's true. I'm not.
Oh my God.
I have nothing better in mind.
Yeah. It's just true. It's business, more money. Only this.
So we need to pray for Jake Paul.
Yes. I will pray Jake Paul because I want to fight with Jake Paul in octagon.
Do you think that Joshua should be fighting Tyson Fury next year?
I want this fight. Yeah, I fan.
Olympic boxer Tony Jeffries offered a different take, urging people not to underestimate Jake Paul. He pointed out that Paul has every resource imaginable: elite trainers, top-tier strength coaches, sports psychologists, nutritionists, and premium sparring partners. Money buys the perfect camp, and Jake can afford perfection. Jeffries also highlighted the age advantage. In boxing, youth equals faster recovery, higher output, and more energy. Paul has that on his side.
8 years old compared to 36 years old. So I guess the advantage there goes a little bit towards Jake Paul. 28-year-old is better than a 36-year-old. But that being said, we've got talking about experience and everything else. What comes with being 36 years old at Anthony Joshua's level. And then, like I mentioned, the heavyweights kind of seem to prime a little bit older. They'll come down to the height and the weight. This is the big one. 6'1" versus 6'6". 200 pounds versus 252 pounds. We've got a 252 pounder in Anthony Joshua. The reach advantage is a lot, which we would expect. Amateur fights, we can see that Jake's only had one, where AJ's at 43, but 43 of them are including at the highest level, Olympic level. And yes, he won the Olympic bloody gold medal, if I don't need to remind you. Then the pro record, Jake Paul has had 13 fights, lost one. AJ has had 28 fights and he's lost 4 with 25 KOs. And the one person that Jake Paul lost to was Tommy Fury. Now, can we compare Tommy Fury with Anthony Joshua? Not at all. It's like night and day. So now I'm going to talk about the rules of this fight, and I'll give you my prediction. which is going to shock a lot of people after this. So, what are the rules? The bout will take place at a heavyweight, obviously. It's going to be 8 3-minute rounds. You might think, well, that's better for Jake Paul, and I'm thinking, not really, it's better for Anthony Joshua because he's just going to go all out for them 8 3-minute rounds. And imagine that, Anthony Joshua blasting at you, 6'6", whatever he is, 250 pounds, throwing big bombs at you. Anyway, both fighters will be using 10-ounce gloves for the duration of the contest. Why have they got that? It says both fighters will be wearing 10-ounce gloves for the duration of the contest. What do you expect? Them to take them off halfway through and switch them to 12s? But I guess these days, anything happens in boxing, right? The boys will follow similar rules to Jake Paul and Mike Tyson in November, but that fight was 8 2-minute rounds and 14-ounce gloves. Not similar if it's smaller gloves and 2-minute rounds. Who ruled this for the zone? It marks the first time Joshua will have contested less than 10 rounds since...
Veteran heavyweight Derek Chisora fiercely blasted the idea of Jake Paul receiving a WBC ranking. He called it disrespectful, saying real fighters grind for years while Paul jumps the line on fame, not merit. He accused the WBC of chasing money over credibility. Meanwhile, some analysts argue Joshua's chin is gone after his knockout losses. Others counter that losing to elite heavyweights doesn't mean Jake Paul can beat him. They insist Joshua still has world-class skills, huge power, and the experience to dominate if he stays disciplined.
To the winner of this fight, do you think they deserve one?
No, I don't think so. I don't know why. It's hard enough for real athletes, for real boxers to get those rankings, and then suddenly this Solomon Tuesday decides to give double ranking because he's getting some greens in his, in his back pocket. No.
Anthony Yard delivered a blunt warning. Joshua cannot underestimate Jake Paul. He said Jake is a master of hype and global attention, and that can lure opponents into feeling too relaxed. If Joshua enters the ring too comfortable, Yard believes Paul could catch him slipping.
We say, oh, it's all fixed and all this. If that's not true, he just go up there and punch him up. But if some funny stuff happens and Jake Paul starts doing the rope-a-dope, the something must be going on. But yeah, I don't think this fight's crazy. I think but Jake Paul's a master at getting eyes. He's been like that. He's very smart. No one cares if he loses. He's meant to lose, and
Former UFC contender turned boxer Darren Till strongly backed Jake Paul. He blasted Saudi promoter Turki Al-Shika's involvement, calling it hypocritical. Till argued Paul enters with nothing to lose, while Joshua's mental vulnerabilities under pressure could tilt the fight. Joshua is not the strongest mentally, Till said, adding that Paul's mental toughness gives him a unique edge.
Anthony Joshua, as much as he's a monster, he's got a weak mind, hasn't he? So Jake could end up getting into it because Jake's got everyone eating out the palm of his hand. He's a very clever man. So
you really think he's got a chance?
Why wouldn't he have a chance? Look how confident he is. Mate, come on. Like, Anthony would have all the pressure in the world, and if Anthony didn't do him with the first few punches, he'd start doubting himself in his head because that's what he does. But no, Anthony should win, shouldn't he?
What do you make of Tyson Fury saying that he's going to put $1 million bet on Jake winning by knockout?
Tyson to leg it, lad. He's retired about 50 times. What's he on about, mate? Just tell him to leg it, and I'd love him. If he walked in here, I'd obviously...
At one point you were good friends.
We're still good friends, but obviously if he walked in here, I'd act like I'm not talking about him, but then on the camera and talking, is this not what we're on? Is everyone not fake, or no, we all... What are we on here? Are we all acting like we don't hate each other? Like, come on. Like, what?
Former three-weight champion and longtime analyst Duke McKenzie slammed the entire crossover trend. He called it misguided and dangerous, saying YouTubers and MMA fighters have no business stepping into a boxing ring with elite pros. McKenzie believes Joshua's fight with Francis Ngannou could have ended in tragedy, and says the sport's safety and integrity are at stake.
For a possible fight against Fury.
Well, Eddie Hearn's a promoter first and foremost, and he's in the business of making money. I'm not so sure he's even thinking about anybody's, getting hurt or anything like that. That hasn't even entered his head. But it should, because somebody could easily lose their life.
That's quite a concern, isn't it? I mean, that should be the forefront of everybody's mind.
I think so. I think there's the fight business, and then there's the fight game, and the way they're talking about it, they're talking about it like it's a game. I don't think Anthony Joshua would take Jake Paul lightly any way, shape or form, and it'd be so easy to hit.
Chael Sonnen joked that Jake Paul would call out Joshua even on fight day if he had to, but quickly reminded fans that's not how business works. Sonnen explained Jake is paying for most of the promotion himself. As fighter and promoter, he carries the financial pressure and can't just change things on a whim. Contrary to analysts predicting Paul will pull out, Sonnen insists Jake Paul is the one who pushed this fight into existence.
What they would do. Do you think this guy would fight this guy? No way. He'd get his ass kicked. So they're telling what they're telling you about themselves. They're letting you know that they would not take a fight that they didn't know that they were going to win. When the person says, mark my words, Jake Paul will pull out of this fight, he might even do it the day of. Pull out of the fight to who? It's his fight. Who is this mystery person? Did you write? Because I know this is a big category. I just read one guy that said this. But I'm talking to a lot of you, aren't I? A lot of you believe that Jake Paul is going to pull out of that fight. Might even do it the day of, correct? Correct? Okay. Who would he pull out to? He is the promoter. Who would he call? Does he send an email to himself? Does he send a text message to himself? Does he schedule a meeting, come in and sit down, across the table and look in the eye himself? Like, it's the part that is the most fascinating about the whole thing is that Jake would be the one to be the skunk at the garden party. It's his money that has brought...
So what is this fight? A sloppy circus mismatch? Or an unpredictable, explosive wildcard blockbuster? No one seems to agree, and that's exactly why the world is watching.